What's going on, everybody? Eyecee here, and welcome to another NBA video. This one is for November 24th. It's 4-game slate. Before we get started, a couple of things to touch up on. Number one, apologies for yesterday's fast-tracked video and lack of information on the spreadsheet. I know everything I do here is free, but I still take great pride in what I do, and I feel obligated to do a good job. And I apologize for the people that depended on it. I just wasn't able to put out the information yesterday. I had my hands full with the 6-month-old. A lot sooner than I thought I would yesterday, so that's what happened. So I apologize. The good news is today's spreadsheet is already up to date and good to go. All the notes are in. I got a couple of hours in to do some research, so already set up. Everything's good to go. You guys can feel free to go through it yourself. Of course, this is a free spreadsheet. If you want access to it, all I need is an email address that I could share the link with. You can email me at Twitter at Eyecee DFS, or on YouTube. Just comment down below any email. I just need to know who I'm sharing it with. Currently, we have around 40 people using it that are enjoying it, which is why I enjoy doing it. The more the merrier. Of course, if you are new here and you haven't yet, please hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Those are the only things that can help me grow, and I'm trying to do this full time. So the faster I can grow, the faster I can push out more free content on a better time schedule. I really appreciate it if you guys took a couple of seconds right now to hit that like and subscribe button. I really want to do this full time and provide more content for free. I have a lot of things in mind. I just don't have the time. So the sooner I have the time, the sooner I can give you guys those things. With that said, let's do a quick recap into my night last night. Overall, it was a great night. 2.5x my buy-in. GPPs were fantastic. 322.75 was my best lineup. I had a decent core all night, but I also had a lot of Tony Bradley, Jeff Green, and Donovan Mitchell in my lineups. Single entry here, I cashed with Darius Garland. I don't know how many people cashed with Darius Garland yesterday, but I was one of them. My core was just phenomenal. Levine, Isaac, Mitchell, Embiid got it done for me. Bridges, Green were good, and then Turner and Garland were bad. And this is another single entry here. I actually cashed with Darius Garland again and OG Anunoby, both of these flop-offs. We managed to cash though because the core was good. So overall, a great night for me. Hopefully, we can identify some more plays here and continue to stay profitable and in the green. But with that said, guys, if you guys still have it and you like what's going on, please hit that like and subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's get into today's take. I'm not going to be talking about every single play here, as I already mentioned. Feel free to go through the notes at your own leisure. Again, if you want the spreadsheet, send me an email address that I could share the link with, and I'll do it. So Brooklyn Nets versus Knicks, inner city, interstate rivals, whatever the correct terminology is here. I'm not sure, but the Nets versus the Knicks. I really like Taurean Prince here. His price really hasn't gone up, and he's the guy at this price point on the Nets that has the highest value or highest probability to exceed value. Prince has real 40-45 DraftKings points upside. The problem is he also has 12 DraftKings points upside. So that's the flakiness. That's the roller coaster with him. He has a low floor, high ceiling. But the issue is his price. It's too cheap. The matchup is really great. And honestly, I'd rather go to Prince over Harris due to the offensive upside. But Harris has better minutes. His minutes are more secure. But Prince is definitely the guy that could get it done on a 4-game slate. I feel like Prince's usage or ownership is not going to be all that great. People are going to look at his flakiness here and like really shy away from him. But by no means, like, he could definitely get it done. He's a relatively safe play on most nights. It's just from time to time he has bad nights. But this is a good matchup. I like Prince. I like Dinwiddie too, 7,700. Kyrie LeVert is still out. Dinwiddie should get the ball as much as he can handle. All the usage in the world. This is a decent matchup against the Knicks team that have given it up to opponents all year long. So definitely someone I'm looking at and considering. And then DeAndre Jordan here. I absolutely love DeAndre Jordan's price. The only issue is his minutes. If he's going to be playing around 25 to 30 minutes, I have no problem. But if he's going to be playing 20 minutes, I do have some slight issue. It's harder for him to exceed value at 20 minutes per game. But 25, 30 minutes, he could easily do it. So if he's going to be starting, I like it. But other than that, the only reason he gets those 25, 30 minutes is if Jared Allen gets into foul trouble, which could happen. So I'm on the fence here. I don't mind it as a GPP play. It could be a very good GPP play if he hits. So I like that. These other guys, you guys can go over. They're not really all that meaningful aside from Garrett Temple, I would say. But it is what it is. On the New York Knicks side, I like a lot of these Knicks guys due to the uptick in pace. The Pacers are the 6th fastest team in the league. The Knicks are the 28th fastest, so the 3rd slowest. With that said, I'm really liking RJ Barrett here in a pace-up matchup. He should have a decent game here. They don't really have the personnel to defend him as well as other teams have. He is a rookie. He is young. He's prone to having his off nights. He very well could have his off night. He comes with his risk, but he also comes with a decent upside at a 6,100 price point. He could get 45, 40 DraftKings points, no problem. He's been doing well, so he's somewhat consistent, so it's not as risky as you might think. So he's a decent play overall against the Nets. The Nets are pretty bad defensively, so that's that. And then bigs against the Nets. We like to target bigs against the Nets, and Julius Randle is a big of the Knicks. He's a great shot volume and a high ceiling type of guy. He's been taking a lot of shots. He's getting a lot of usage, a lot of minutes. The only problem with him is his foul trouble inconsistency. The last 3 games, 4 fouls. That'll take some minutes away from you and your aggressiveness. The matchup is fantastic, however. If Julius Randle gets in a groove, you could easily smash his price point. 50, 55 DraftKings points is not outside the realm of possibility. Definitely someone to consider on this slate. And then Bobby Portis and Mitchell Robinson. I won't be playing these guys together in the lineup, but I'll be alternating these guys in a lot of my lineups. I just feel like it's about time one of these two guys had a monstrous game that they're capable of. With Taj Gibson seeing reduced minutes now, he's seeing around 10 minutes a game, up from his 16 that he was seeing. One of these guys is definitely going to be in prime position to do it. Both of these guys are at risk of getting into foul trouble, which should boost the other guy's minutes, which is why I'm alternating the two. If either one of these guys gets into foul trouble, that would automatically boost the other significantly. But as it stands, even if they don't get into foul trouble, in 20 to 25 minutes, both of these guys can exceed value. Mitchell Robinson has the highest ceiling, I would say, or the bigger probability between the two to exceed value. He's just a PPM monster, man, or 1.5 point per minute monster. In limited minutes, he can put up numbers: 17 minutes, 24 DraftKings points, 27 minutes, 38 DraftKings points. So he's someone that can produce in limited minutes easily. Bobby Portis is a little bit harder for him, but definitely someone that's also capable. He's still taking a good amount of shots. And if he gets hot with the 3-point and some of these other peripherals line up for him, then he can also get it done. But I would bet on Mitchell Robinson, but Portis' price is a little bit better, and he's going to be lower owned than Mitchell Robinson, which makes me like him a little bit more. But with that said, first game is done. All these other guys you guys can go through. On the Sacramento Kings and Washington Wizards game, this is another good game I want to target here. This should be a decently paced game. The Kings are ranked 27th, but they're actually not that slow. I think there's a little bit of misguidance here. They play at a decent pace with Corey Joseph and Yogi Ferrell. I'm sure Fox and Bogdan are slowing it down, but it's not as bad as you guys may think. But it is a pace-up matchup for the Kings nonetheless. They should be in line for a little bit of an offensive uptick here. Buddy Hield in particular is going to be leading the forefront, especially if Bogdanovic is out. I like Buddy Hield more if Bogdan plays because it takes the ball out of his hands and allows him to really focus on scoring and do what he does. But with Bogdan out, he's going to be also seeing the ball in his hands a lot more. And I know it also leads to production, but it also leads to mistakes. And, he could get tired and doing a little bit more than he's not used to. Take him out of his groove. So I'd prefer Bogdan to be there and Corey Joseph at the very least to play Buddy Hield. But he's in a good spot here. His 3-point shot hasn't been falling the past few games. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's 1 for 8, 1 for 7. If the shots fall, then he could easily exceed value here. It'd be a great play. So I'm definitely considering Buddy Hield. He could also take double-digit 3-point attempts as well. And this game would dictate it. Washington plays at a very fast pace. Lots of high-scoring games in Washington this year. And, I could definitely see this turning into a 3-point, shot-for-shot type of game. And Buddy Hield would be the guy. Same with Eyecee. That would end up leading the forefront there. Richaun Holmes, the other guy I'm looking at 6,200. 4-game slate, has to be in consideration. Has been playing decently well. He's made this position his own. The good thing about him is he's power forward center eligible. He gets a lot of peripheral stats, and he also has good scoring upside. On the Wizards, Wizards sucks against the bigs. So we like to target bigs against the Wizards. And Richaun Holmes is a decent big, man. 26 years old, entering his prime, really making a name for himself right now. Getting more and more praise as the games go on. He's in a good spot here. I don't mind him whatsoever. And, of course, you got to keep an eye on Bogdan and Corey Joseph. If either one of these two guys misses, it would open up the floor for some Yogi Ferrell. Yogi Ferrell is risky. He hasn't been playing all that well this season, but he does have upside. We haven't seen it yet this season, but going back to last year and the year before, he has 30, 40 DraftKings points upside if he gets the minutes. He's not in his prime. He's a young guy, 26 years old. He's also trying to make a name for himself and get some consistency. He has good ball handling skills. He's a good assist rate here. If Corey Joseph and Bogdan's out, they're going to need that to keep an eye on the news. He's someone I'm on the fence where he could be a decent value play even if he is risky. On the Wizards side, Bradley Beal, of course, is in play. It's a 4-game slate. He is the most expensive guy on the slate. He could definitely be the highest scoring guy on the slate as well. However, there's a lot of guards on the slate that I would be getting to, so I don't know how much Bradley Beal I get to per se, but he's definitely in consideration. It's a 4-game slate. Thomas Bryant is the guy I'm looking at more and more and more as the day goes on. Initially, I wasn't really considering him, but the more I look at him, the more I feel like this is a good matchup for Thomas Bryant. Since Isaiah Thomas has entered the lineup, his usage has gone down, but Thomas Bryant still has that upside, that ability to go out there and smash 45 DraftKings points. It's not outside of the realm of possibility for him. 46, 45, whatever. He could get those. It's just the minutes haven't been there. And with Bertans and Wagner playing as well as they have, that's also taken away some of his usage. But he's a very capable guy. I feel like he's going to be a little bit underowned based on his past couple of games here. But it is a 4-game slate. He's one of the better centers on the slate with the more upside, so he's in consideration. And then Mo Wagner. I like Mo Wagner's price a lot more than the Bertans' $1,400 increased price. They both have similar upside. But Mo Wagner's got into foul trouble the last few games, which is the main reason why he hasn't really been performing. And he does have foul trouble history, as you guys can see. He pretty much gets into foul trouble every single game. But the games that he does not and manages to stay on the floor, he has these crazy, crazy game upsides. He is risky in his own right, don't get me wrong. But getting a 30 DraftKings points out of him is not like something crazy to think about. Of course, Bertans is the safer pick. He's been way more consistent. The minutes and shot volumes have been good, but I suspect the major reason for that has been Wagner's foul trouble. With that said, of course, Troy Brown has an illness. He's missed Saturday's practice, so keep an eye on the news. If he's out, then I would bump Isaac Bonga and CJ Miles. I don't know how interested I'd be into those guys, but they see decent minutes, so some GPP interest for sure, especially CJ Miles, who could get hot in a hot second and get it done. On to the next game here, Phoenix Suns versus Denver Nuggets. And the Suns just played yesterday. I've been chasing Devin Booker for the last 3 games now, ever since Rubio's been out. I've been chasing that 60 DraftKings points game, and the one day he's not on the slate, they played that early game, he goes out and does it. What a letdown, man. That sucks. Can he do it again today? Sure, why not? But it's against Denver. Denver's one of the best teams in the league against point guards. They've really limited a lot of point guards, with the exception of Trae Young. But Devin Booker definitely would be in play, especially if Rubio is out. I just love Devin Booker as a player, man. He's a real good knockdown shooter. Great guy, great personality. Everything about him I like. It's just sometimes he does a little bit too much or a little bit too little. Recently, he's also been getting into foul trouble. So we have to take that into consideration as well. He is a risk of playing reduced minutes. But against Denver, I'm not all that excited to begin with. And since Rubio is back, if Rubio is going to be back, I don't really think I'll be all that interested in Booker. But if Rubio stays out, I'll play Booker again, just not as much. Kelly Oubre, on the other hand, another guy that definitely he's back. He's having solid games now. But he had solid games to start the season, and then someone in the middle, he just started having mediocre games. So that's the risk with him. This is a decent spot for Kelly Oubre. People are going to be scared of this matchup a little bit more than they should be. He had 40 DraftKings points the last time these guys played, and the ownership will be fairly low on him, and his opportunity is not as bad as people might think. So he's another guy I'm going to be considering seriously. I don't mind. I like him because the ownership's low. He has the upside, and Rubio's out. His usage is going to be great as well. So I don't mind Oubre. Dario Saric's another guy without Rubio. Dario Saric's a guy that I like with Rubio. So without Rubio, Dario Saric hasn't been getting the same type of looks. They've been tougher shots. They haven't been open looks. He's been getting them in traffic and congestion. Ricky Rubio was really setting him up nice, and he had a real nice groove going. But with Ricky Rubio out, his production has fallen. But he does have this upside. He could get you 30 DraftKings points still. If Rubio's back, I really like him at a $4,500 price point. I think that's a very good play with Rubio in. He should definitely be able to space the floor, and with the way the style Denver plays, Denver forces the other guys to beat them. So Kelly Oubre, Dario Saric, Kaminsky, these guys would see a bump. The ball would be out of Booker and Rubio's hands, and they'd be getting double teamed as much as possible. Also, Dario Saric is someone definitely I'll put him on the fence for now because we're waiting for Rubio. And of course, Kaminsky I'm on the fence too. If Aaron Baines is out, he's missed the last 3 games, and Kaminsky would be in line for a run. Honestly, I'm on the fence because Kaminsky hasn't been playing all that well. But this is the type of game that Kaminsky wakes up for in the morning. He likes a challenge, and he does good against the better teams, in my opinion. Should be a decent play at 4,600. I don't really have anything against it, but I'm not all that excited about it either. And of course, it all depends on if Aaron Bain plays. Some of these other guys here, you guys can read up on them. Tyler Johnson in particular could be a decent play, but again, he comes with its own risk, and he hasn't shown any upside so far this year. But he has upside. Tyler Johnson's on the Heat last year, was someone that was doing really, really well coming off the bench. So far on the stun, he's still getting himself integrated into his team. He's not seeing the same level of usage or looks like he was in the past, but he's very capable. If Rubio misses, it's just a matter of time before he has a breakout game. It's coming. He's due. He's been playing more and more, so it's a matter of time. Just keep an eye on the news here. And then on the Denver side, let's see here. Denver, of course, Nikola Jokic has to be in play. It's a 4-game slate. He's been really well. He finally had that monster game, 62 DraftKings points the other day, and go figure. Nikola Jokic has good games against good teams. Against Boston, he got 64 DraftKings points. Against the 76ers, 57 DraftKings points. And the last time was against the Suns when he got 66 DraftKings points. And this is when the Suns were really a tough team to start the season. They came in hot. Ricky Rubio and everybody was flying high and causing problems. And Jokic had to show up that day, and he did. Jokic plays down to the competition. It's not on purpose. It's just by nature of the game. He doesn't even plan to do it. It just happens, okay? When he, I don't know. I was the type of guy that didn't feel like trying when I didn't need to. I didn't study in school when I didn't need to. I didn't do my homework when I didn't need to, when I didn't feel like I needed to. And when I needed to, I did. Like the night before, I'd be up all night studying. I was one of those guys. So, Nikola Jokic, man, it's the competition here. I don't think the competition is going to be here today, especially without Ricky Rubio. But this Suns team have shown that they're more than capable of bringing it. They can play some good defense at times. They're well coached. The coach is really good. So they could definitely make a game out of this. And Nikola Jokic would be in a fantastic spot to help you succeed in your lineups. 9,200 is a great price for Jokic, who's still, the price is finally reasonable for him. It was really low for a time, but this is still kind of low for Jokic, especially in this type of matchup. It's just there's a lot of mouths to feed on Denver. On any given night, only a few of these guys are going to go off, and it's tough to figure out who. Jamal Murray is another guy that could also be in line for a good game. He's really been on a mission. He's been very focused. He's been killing the opponents the last few games. And he does have that upside from time to time. You'll see that. Definitely someone to look at a 4-game slate. He's a great point guard in his own right. And he's been shooting really well the past few games. Does the streak continue? I don't see why not. But he's also prone to really bad shooting nights, like that 1 for 11 he had 4 games ago. So that's the risk that comes with Murray. And, of course, with all these other teammates on this team, not everybody can eat. It's like the 76ers, right? Not everyone can eat. It's hard to figure out who's the guy going to be. One guy that we can be fairly confident that's not going to eat on most nights is Gary Harris. However, this is exactly the type of night where Gary Harris can eat and get you the 30 DraftKings points that you're craving from him. 4.1K, man. It's just a very cheap price. Yeah, he's the odd man out whenever he's on the court. He takes the least amount of shots. He doesn't really need to be involved all that much offensively. He's mainly locking mans down. But he's 25 years old. Jamal Murray is 22 years old. Jokic's 24 years old. This is a very young core. And these guys are getting better each and every day. And right now, I think Will Barton is the main scorer on this team at time to time. It is Jamal Murray, but Will Barton is the one that takes the focal point of that at times, because Jokic and Murray see significant coverage. So Will Barton has to step up, and he's been doing good. Well, Gary Harris is a guy that's more than capable of doing it too. He can knock down some shots, get some peripheral stats, assists, and all that. He just doesn't need to. But this is a game where, I'm still on the fence. I'm like, don't get me wrong, but I don't mind Gary Harris at 4,100. I think he's a relatively safe play here, and it'll help you guys get some other guys with more upside. Of course, Will Barton at 5,800. Now Will Barton's at a price that we can talk about Will Barton. I wasn't ready to pay 7K for Will Barton. Hell no. as well as he was playing. But this is what I mostly expect from Will Barton on most nights. Somewhere in the 17 to 30 DraftKings points range. He does have that 40 DraftKings points upside, but it's not needed all the time. I don't think it'll be needed here today, so I'm not going to really be playing him. But he's in consideration. It's a 4-game slate. Of course, he's a guy that has 40 DraftKings points upside. You can't totally fade him, but you got to make a stand somewhere. I won't have as much Will Barton as I have in the past, and I'm okay with that. Millsap could sneakily have a good game. Read the notes on him. And then Torrey Craig, Beasley, and Monte Morris. These 3 bums, I got to do some deep dive research on them or something, because I don't know what the criteria is for who gets minutes and when they get minutes and why they get minutes and what's going on. Some days it's Monty, some days it's Beasley, some days it's Craig. It's been like this for a year for me, man. I really just got to sit down one day and open up some Harvard level thought process and figure out what's going on with these guys' minutes and what's the criteria and how can I better figure out who's going to play, when they're going to play. Their price is very good. They're very high usage guys. When they play, they see a good amount of minutes. It's just only one of them seems to play every game. So who is it going to be today? I don't know. It's like Russian roulette. So we don't know. Last game of the night, New Orleans Pelicans and the Clippers. The Pelicans had a late game yesterday. They are on a back-to-back. They also are a team that has a significant amount of injuries coming into the season or coming into this game. They recently got a lot of their guys back, but some guys are still out. Josh Hart, Okafor, and Derek Favors are still all out. Okafor, we don't have news about. It hasn't been confirmed. He was ruled out yesterday. The coach said, this is why I didn't put him in red. The coach said that he expected yesterday's game. The coach said he expected Okafor to be playing a couple of minutes. Then he decided to scratch him, which lets me to believe that Okafor is going to play a couple of minutes today because it is a back-to-back, and they like Jackson Hayes. They don't want to run him to the ground, and they're gonna alleviate some of Hayes' minutes tonight by playing some Okafor. Okafor, how much minutes he's gonna play, I don't really know. I don't really care, to be honest. He's very risky. He could play 15 minutes and get it done for you, sure, but it's very risky, man. There's other guys I'd like, but on a 4-game slate, if he's gonna be playing 15 minutes, if he's gonna be starting, then yeah, I don't mind Okafor if he's starting, even if it's against the Clippers. The Clippers haven't been as good against bigs as people might think. But Jahlil Okafor definitely someone that could get it done. He's just risky, and I don't really have a favorable opinion of him, but it is a 4-game slate, and if he's starting, then by default, you'd have to consider him, right? Of course, Drew Holiday has been playing lights out here. He's been playing really well the past few games. I'm on the fence because this is a tougher matchup for him. It is a back-to-back, and if this game gets out of hand quick, Alvin Gentry's not going to want to run his guy into the ground. The younger guys would get more run here. JJ Redick's another guy to look at. He's been playing really well too, and he's been having the best run of his career since December 2015. He's a professional shooter who hasn't missed the playoffs ever, and he's a big part of why the Pelicans have been putting in competitive performance after performance. He's been a big part of that. He's been knocking down shots at a high rate. It is a back-to-back, and at 35 years old, he might be rested or see a reduced workload, especially if the game gets out of hand. If that were to happen, Frank Jackson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker would really come into play. This is why you guys got to create a scenario for this game. Do you guys think it stays close? Do you guys think it gets out of hand? The Clippers are, of course, hungry. They haven't been playing all that well cohesively, defensively or offensively. They're going to want to get their stuff rolling and going, so they're going to be ready. And Pelicans are coming from yesterday, a tough loss yesterday. They tried to make it a game towards the end of the game. It almost did, but they fell short. But no, you just got to keep an eye on the news here. Another guy I'm on the fence is JJ Redick. Lonzo Ball, he's probably going to be seeing 25 minutes again, or maybe reduced even further because it is a back-to-back. So, of course, we got to keep an eye on the news for that as well. If he plays, I don't mind him at 5K. Lonzo Ball is a good basketball player, man. I'm serious. Lonzo Ball is a very, very, very good basketball player. Very good. It's just the shots sometimes aren't falling, and sometimes he's not as aggressive as he should be, and sometimes he's a little too aggressive. So he's still learning, young guy, lots of time ahead of him. Definitely someone to look out for in the future. 5K is too cheap for Lonzo, but 25 minutes is what's stopping me. And it's a back-to-back. Otherwise, I just play Lonzo. I know Beverly just knocked his shit out the first game he ever played in the NBA. Beverly just shut him down and really started his career off bad. So he'd be pretty motivated to right the wrongs here. His shot's better. He's on a better team now. Everything's going well. So he could be in a good spot here. Just the minutes in a back-to-back that are scaring me. Brandon Ingram, KD Light, as I like to call him. He's been nothing but stellar. look, this is a very tough matchup for him. It is a 4-game slate, so we have to consider him. But we also have to consider that Paul George is $100 more than him. And a lot of people will be flocking to Paul George over Brandon Ingram, who are playing the same positions practically. Personally, I don't mind playing to some Ingram as well, just as a pivot to Paul George in the event that Paul George doesn't have a great game and Ingram does. Ingram's just been playing lights out. He's been hitting. He has a decent chance of hitting value, if not exceeding it, even at this elevated price. This is a tough match, no doubt, but honestly, for $100 more, I could get PG or I could pivot. I'm going to be playing a lot of Paul George, don't get me wrong, but I'm also going to be pivoting to Brandon Ingram, who I think is going to have a lot of run and usage on this team. It's just a matchup is tough with Kawhi and Paul George guarding him at times, with J. Michael Green and Harrell getting some turns too. It's tough, but Brandon Ingram's been playing really well. He's been very confident. He looks confident, and I don't mind playing some BI. With that said, I already said Vocal 4 starts. I kind of like him. Jackson Hayes, I feel like, would get reduced run. And Melly is another guy at 4,300 is risky on the price. 30 DraftKings points is possible. It's rare. It's risky. Tough matchup. But if these guys are going to be getting restricted and reduced run, then he's someone to look at. And then the Clippers. Let's just start with Paul George, who I really like at 8,400. 8,400 Paul George. Look, he's been playing really well. I am 50-50 on the thought of Ingram over Paul George or Paul George over Ingram based on the price. Of course, Paul George is an MVP caliber player. He was an MVP candidate last year. He just came back from injury. He's yet to get into a full groove. He's had 2 great games in limited minutes. This could be another one of those. But this could also be a blowout, and they could totally just run the Pelicans off the court here. And with that said, that would really hinder the production. That would also hinder Ingram's production, but Paul George would also be hindered by that. I don't know. My gut tells me this is a trap. I feel like Ingram probably has a better night. It's rare, but I feel like Ingram might have a better night. But it's Paul George, man. You can't really go wrong. 8,500, 4-game slate. With the amount of usage minutes he's seeing in this matchup, fast-paced. Pelicans are the 4th, 5th best, fastest-paced team. The Clippers are the 11th. So the pace-up matchup is also good. So this should bode well for a lot of the Clippers and Pelicans players in general. The pace-up matchup is just the Clippers are a much better defensive team and cause problems for the Pelicans. But Paul George, I like. Aside from Paul George, I have a tough time getting to a lot of these guys, man. Kawhi Leonard, definitely Kawhi can get it done, but I knowing Toronto Raptors last year really, really well, this is the type of games you're gonna get out of Kawhi. Yeah, he'll get you a 60 DraftKings points every now and then, but 50 is mainly what you're gonna be seeing out of him. 10K is a little elevated, especially with Paul George back now. The usage is gonna go down for Kawhi. They don't need him all that much. Plus, they have Lou Williams taking 20 shots a game. Harrell still wants his. They got some other guys that want to compete a little bit. So definitely a little under-owned on Kawhi today, and hoping his price goes down. 10K is a little too much for me. I'd rather just play for Paul George at a $1,500 discount with similar upside. And then Lou Williams is the other guy I'm looking at 7K. I thought his usage and minutes would go down with Paul George entering the mix, but it seems like his shots are pretty much consistent with what they've been all season. His role is secure. His usage is secure. I like the price. I like the matchup. I like Lou Williams. And then Montrezl Harrell, another guy who I thought would take a usage hit with Paul George entering the mix. He still seems to be doing well. He's the guy that's actually taking a hit, though, production-wise. He's not going to be producing at the levels he was, but he's always going to have that upside. He's always going to be that energizer bunny off the bench that comes off and really tries to change the game and take it over and just shut it down. Whatever the case might be that they need from him, he comes there to do it. So Montrezl Harrell is someone that I like at 6,300. Great price for him. Like Lou, though, they're a little bit of a risk. If the game blows out, their minutes are going to take a hit. They're definitely not going to see run in the fourth quarter if the game's out of hand. So with that said, guys, those are my picks for today. Some of these other guys I like. I'll be adding more notes as the night goes on, as the news breaks. I'll put them in the second column here. Again, if you guys want access to the spreadsheet, all you need to do is send an email address to my Twitter DM or post a comment in the YouTube comment section, and I'll share the link with you, and you guys can access this every single day. But with that, guys, I appreciate all you guys that tune in and support. Thank you for your continued support. Best of luck tonight. Hopefully you guys can all hit the green. Take care. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.